want to make sure I wish all the local high schools good luck as they start their season. So have a great have a great high school football season. It's the best time of your life. So we'll go to you guys.
How was the simulated game last night? Kind of what did you guys get out of doing that? Having a team kind of go through a game day yesterday.
I think really two things. Just making sure we were under the lights again, making sure that our substitutions and all those things that can show up on the first game were as clean as possible. Got some really good work. The guys were really physical. So we worked on our football as well. And I think the biggest thing I told the team is, Coach Paterno used to always tell us, you make your biggest jump from game 1 to game 2. I think a lot of old coaches say that. So we don't want to try to do that after next week. So we treated last night like a game so we could see, hey, where are we deficient? What do we need to improve upon? You can sometimes get to this last week and want to hurry up and get to the game, but we have to maximize every minute to improve.
You've talked about liking Alex Bullock and Isaiah throughout camp, but can you speak on them being at the top of the depth chart going into the season?
Yeah, we're going to play a lot of receivers. I mean, Isaiah, you saw the explosive nature that he has last year early on in the season when he played. So, to me, Isaiah's always been a starter for us, would be a starter. He, had some soft tissue stuff at the end of the spring, so they kind of held him back. But he's had a really good camp, great hands, smart, tough, fast. So excited about Isaiah. And then Alex, was not my intention usually when I have scholarships to give it to a senior who's put their time in, but you just can't deny what he's done. I mean, he's made one-handed catches, acrobatic catches. I mean, he's been dynamic all camp, and so he's a starter for us, and I think we'll play really well.
I know Marcus just got back, and we felt good about how he can work into being ready for next week.
Yeah, I'm taking it one day at a time. He's Marcus is he'll be healthy. And he's great thing about Marcus. He's played so much football. If anything, he probably knows the offense better now than he did before because he hasn't been practicing. So his only focus has been on coaching the other guys. He's done a great job coaching the young players, and so I'm sure Marcus will be ready.
So you put Alex on scholarship.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How about that journey for just those two together, Alex and John, and just what they've done and accomplished in your program from where they were 9 months ago until now?
Well, I hope Mr. and Mrs. Bullock went out and bought a car, went on vacation or something. So that's got to be a nice penny there. No, it's a great family. And, we want to be a program where everything's earned, I tell the guys, you want this, you want that, go earn it. And they've certainly earned it. One of the hardest things about being the head coach is sometimes you see players that are not on scholarship who deserve them. Unfortunately, not very often. Sometimes you have guys who are on scholarship who don't really maybe value them the way they should. They maybe take things for granted. We don't have very much of that at all. But we do have guys that deserve to be on scholarship, right? And there's others as well. So both those guys are valuable contributors. They're going to play a lot of football. And, it's not like we gave them one. I just got them what they were owed to them. Just got a little later than we should have.
How much do you feel like you know about your team up to this moment? How much do you just not know until they play the game?
Yeah, we won't know truly who we are till we play a game, and probably a couple games, right? My challenge to them has been, don't get to game 4 and game 5 and have all of a sudden everything slow down and have the light come on. Like, try to do it now. It's like, the all-in shows of some of the things have gotten out that I've said. I talk a little bit about, getting to that first game and there being a messy front end. There's also a messy front end to each season and a messy front end to a new coach. Next year will be so much easier. The guys will know what to expect. Every day that they walk in Sam, they're kind of like, okay, what are we doing today, coach? And they're such good kids. Like, I had some kids at Temple that were kind of like, well, whatever you do, I'm going to do. These guys want to do everything right. And so I want them to prepare up into the game, but what I need to find out is, are they going to be the type of team that just goes out and plays and doesn't worry about what happens? That's the only way you can play this game, is not to worry about the score, just go play. And so we talk about it all the time. I've seen them do it in practice. Will they do it in the game? That's the challenge. That's a challenge for me. That's a challenge for them.
Matt, how different is game week prep back at the college level compared to the last few years in the NFL?
I think my time in the NFL really prepared me to do this better, right? I think if we're playing for our staff, or if they're being recruited by our staff, they're probably better prepared for things at the next level than maybe before. I've adopted probably more walkthroughs and things like that than meetings after my time there, because I just see the value of like getting out there and feeling it and doing it. So football's so different. It's like at that level, you're preparing for like outside zone and duo, and then you get here and it's like, how are we going to handle this RPO, that RPO? The football is way more, in some ways, complex or different, varied. But, yeah, we're kind of going with the same schedule we used at Baylor. It's a unique practice schedule, but it's something we believe in, so I'm excited to do it with the guys.
Hey, Matt, could you kind of describe how you found the collective mental state of the program when you first met with the team and compare it to maybe what you think it is like now?
I think anytime you have a new coach coming in, there's just a lot of anxiousness and anxiety. They just went head coach. They went from Scott to Mickey, kind of got comfortable with Mickey. Then all of a sudden I show up, it's, hey, does this guy really want us here? What's he going to do? So probably just a lot of like, hesitation, I don't know the right word is hesitation. Probably a lot of just anxiety about what's the future going to hold. Where do I fit? I think everyone's very clearly, I think everything's pretty transparent. We want to have a very positive, stable, transparent environment, a very challenging environment. Like, we're not, you heard me say before, like, we're a caring, not coddling place. But I just think that they kind of know where we stand. Everyone knows where they stand. They know what's expected. So I think we've come a long way in that regard.
But I guess what I meant by the question was, did you find the team to be a beaten down team and now maybe they come out?
No, I know what you meant. Yeah, I'm just not going to say anything about that. It's a great question. I don't want to say anything negative about the people that were here before me. And I think Mickey did a great job. I just think, they haven't won, right? Like, when you haven't won, you start being like, man, are we ever going to win? And what we've asked our guys to do is to take ownership of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be honest with you. I will answer this, though. I think this is like one of the most resilient groups of young people I've ever been around. Like, I've said it a couple times. I don't know if people take me seriously. I really feel like it's my obligation to watch. I remember Garrett Nelson sitting in my office, and Garrett Nelson needed to go to the NFL. Like, he was getting older. While I would love to have coached him, I was like, bro, this is your time. Like, go make it happen. But I remember Garrett, and I hope he's okay with sharing this, talking about like his father's legacy here and like how he wanted to be part of the group that turned it around. And I remember visiting with Nick and Luke, and they're trying to figure out, should we transfer? Should we stick around? Like, Coach Rhule, your MO is to kind of not be very good early and play the young guys. So, but their care for the program was so strong that I feel a tremendous obligation. Like, man, we have to find a way to help these guys win. So I don't know if they're beaten down as much as I would say just sort of like they want this so badly and they haven't been able to, and they're kind of looking everywhere. And I think we've just tried to be very focused about, hey, let's focus on these things. So I feel like we're in a good place right now.
Do you have a pretty good sense of what your game day operation is going to be? Like, is Coach Sack going to be in the booth? Is Coach White going to be on the field? Like, do you have a sense of that? I know you coach both offense and defense, so you probably have thoughts on both.
Yeah, I just think it's really the play callers have to be comfortable. I would never want to call a game from the field. I'd always want to be up top where it's a little bit more, sterile and less emotional. But Sat likes to call it from the field. Tony likes to call it from the field. Sometimes the coordinators that work for me rather just go up in the box and get away from me after a couple of games. But I don't spend too much time worrying about it. If I'm being like, to me, we've done so much preparation. There's not a thing that'll be called that we haven't prepared for and talked about. Like, we literally will talk about, hey guys, it's I'll sit there and say it's 3rd and 7 on the 32-yard line. I say you have 2 downs. We're going for it on 4th and 3. What are you calling? And they better be able to say it to me like that. So, and Sats, he lead at that. He's worked for me before, and Tony's really smart in that way, and so is Ed. So, but I would think all 3 coordinators would be down on the field, and then probably Garrett would go up top because Garrett's really sees the passing game well. Aaron Cooling, who's one of the finest young coaches I've ever been around, he was he's a graduate assistant for us. And that allows him to be on the headset. He works hand in hand with Donnie, so he'll be up as well, seeing the run game, and then one other player coach, and then on defense, I would anticipate like Rob going up, and then I'm not sure what they're going to do with Coop. So, but I would see the coordinators being down on the field.
Hey, Matt, so much newness for this season, and you in particular. How's this been for you to go through this process, and what are you feeling as you get ready for Game 1 here in Nebraska?
I'm having the time of my life. I really am. This is as happy as I've been in a really, really long time. My family's here now. My girls are happy at school. My family's happy. My wife's happy. My son's doing well. I really enjoy this team. I told our team the other day, like, I bring Leona. She's 8. I bring her around. She's around on Saturday. She'll be here all day Saturday. She'll be here all day Sunday. She's at the practice. She thinks Chief's her older brother. She plays catch with Chief. She sits in the team meeting. She gets on me about my language. So, but I told the team, I said, it's one thing when you bring your son, right? Like, it's one thing to bring your son. Like, when I bring my daughter, that's a statement of what I think about the men in the team, right? Like, I would not bring my daughters around men that I would not want her to look up to. And so, because of the collective group of people that's here, because of Trev, because of Dennis LeBlanc and Jamie Vaughn and Marquita Armstead and Doug Ewald and all the people, at that level, because of Sean and Susan and Keith and all the people that, there's just an elite group of people here, right? And so I really am having the time of my life. I haven't been this happy in a long time. You can tell by the look on my face, probably.
What's one thing from the beginning of camp to now 6 days out that you guys have grown in or improved on that you're most proud of?
Football IQ and intelligence, situational football. When I first got here, it was kind of like, when we first got started, kind of like, hey, just let me ball, let me play, let me do my thing. Like, there's really no doing your thing when you play against good teams, right? It's like executing in the moments and in the situations and matching each moment with excellence. And so now I feel like we're at a moment where, like, I can put the ball down. Like I don't know if you noticed in the one TV show that we did, like, I'll give the situation to two players and then they run off and tell everybody. Like, I couldn't have done that in the spring as well. Right now, like, I'd say it to the guys and they're locked into the situation. So situational awareness. Now, will that carry over the game? I don't know. Like, I've shown them 2018 Colorado. I've shown them, what's the game where Crouch, Eric hits the guy down the sideline, they kick a field goal. Colorado scores with like 2,000, thank you. I showed them and the A&M game. I showed them all these old games, both with us. Today we watched Syracuse, Purdue, right? So just all these end of game situations. And I'd say when I first started, I'd say, what do you guys hear? And I'd have like three guys, Well, now there's a chorus of guys that understand what's happening, understand the situation, what should happen. So I'd say our situational awareness has really jumped up. And in a day and age where a lot of guys don't really watch football, like I watch the ESPN game, and I'm like, did anybody watch it? And they all kind of look at me like, they're watching that they're watching the highlights on YouTube or they're watching it on TikTok, which is, hey, it is what it is, man. But watching that together, I think is really good because we have a common language situationally.
How much is your overall approach geared toward reversing the trend of losing close games? Do you think of it that way?
No, if anything, I sometimes I get upset when like you guys ask a question, our guys will talk about last year. I don't think there's any value in us talking about the past other than learning from it, like the football. Because it has nothing to do with me. Like, I wasn't here, so like, why would I talk about, like, if you ask me, like, hey Matt, let's talk about what happened at Baylor or Carolina or Temple, I'd 100, but I think what's happened in the past was just a different entity. We have to answer for the things that we do, right? So I'm more worried about just being on the front end of what we do than the previous things that have happened, if that makes any sense. Like if we go out to kick the game-winning field goal, I certainly don't want Tristan thinking about, well, this guy made this kick or missed this kick. I want him thinking about just right now. So I came into the job, though, to answer it, knowing, like, hey, this team's close. We have certain things we have to do. So that's why we've put such an emphasis on how we eat. Like, the guys don't love the fact that I make them eat 3 meals a day in the training table. Sometimes they just want to go out and eat Subway. But we do it because we want them to get as big and strong as possible so we can win games in the fourth quarter, right? The way that we lift, the way that we do everything.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, I just don't want I try not to talk about, hey guys, we've lost a ton of close games, because I think that puts that in the universe. For me, it's like, we're going to win close games because we're doing X, Y, and Z. And I want them to draw on, like, honestly, the matchups we did were really, really hard. And this training camp was really, really hard. This was really, really hard. And I want them to take pride. And we're playing Minnesota. I have the utmost respect for PJ Fleck. He's a friend of mine. I love the way he runs his program. It's different than me, but I love the fact that I'm in Texas. I can walk into a high school and I see, like, Hyper and Ski Ma and Row the Boat on a wall, and I'm like, oh, PJ was here, huh? Like, but that's it. He believes in that, and it's what I love about them. It's why they've done what they've done over 7 years, and the way they play the game is the way I like to play the game. They run the ball, they play defense, they execute on third downs, and so, like, we understand, like for us to go play in that game on the road, the first game for us as an entity together, we have to have gone through a really hard training camp. And we have to take in our confidence from that. This Tuesday's practice, I know kind of went out there and said it was a little bit lethargic, which drives me nuts that he said that. It was 110 degrees, and we were practicing like we were in Junction, like the guys battled, right? It was, it wasn't good enough, and so we told them, but like we have a group that has really worked hard, and I want them to take confidence from that. And that confidence only means that you've earned the right to go play against another really good team. It should be a great game, but I guess that's more I want them to take their thoughts about what we've done since we've gotten here, but the whole thing was geared for, hey, let's get this team over the hump if we can, so.
And Matt, this is the last year the Big Ten will have divisions, and you've lived both ways. I know in the American, where the last couple of years you had divisions and won the thing to get to the title game. I guess, could you kind of give me your take on what you think of divisions versus not having divisions, and if one or the other makes life easier on a coach?
Yeah, in the Big 12, we didn't have divisions, so invariably you always had to play a team now it was only, at the time, whatever many teams it was, 10, 11, whatever, sorry, I can't remember that, but you played every team every year. So you would have to repeat against somebody or beat someone you hadn't beaten, whereas in bigger conferences, you can, maybe play someone you haven't played before, right? So, which one's better, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I thought it was kind of cool playing, divisions, but, the league's gotten so big, it'd be really hard to do that. As just kind of a purist, I like the way things always were, but I do appreciate the fact that at least now the two best teams are playing in each conference. And so, like when we played Oklahoma, we played Navy, we played Houston. Those are the teams we played in conference championship games, and those were the best teams in the league. And so, moving forward, I think it's going to be really unique. And there's a real challenge ahead for the Big Ten, but AJ Eds and, Commissioner Petitti, they'll figure it out.
Does it make things more manageable, though, when you know that you're going to play this group of 6 teams every year?
I don't know. I think, you're talking about, I think you kind of build a book of business about, hey, here's how we're going to play these guys. I think that repetitive nature. Sometimes you have to kind of diversify what you do each year because, people are zeroing in on what you're doing. So, yeah, I think having a repetitive opponent every single year certainly makes things easier in one regard, and then also you have to be ready to change a little bit because they know you and they're coming after you. So.
Matt, do you feel like your team's ready to play a game in 5 days?
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll be ready to play.
I know there's a relationship between the way Minnesota plays offense and its defensive efficiency. However, it's still the number 4 defense in the country from last year. A lot of people focus on their offense without really talking about the defense. What makes their defense so good?
Well, Joe Rossi's a great coach. I know Joe way back at Rutgers, so he's a great coach. They have really good players, okay? But they know what they're doing. Like everything is so if you're just looking at it as an outsider, it's like, well, they're playing quarters. No, it's like, the teams that do that really well, the Iowas, them, like everything has a purpose. You put the back here, you're going to get this, some combination over here. And so a lot of times you face a team like this and you don't really understand their defense. They do such a great job. They play team defense. Everything is funneled to certain players. Everything is put together. And so, I've never worked with Joe, but I'm assuming they probably know here's the things that beat us, and they practice those things. My defensive coordinator for 10 years was Phil Snow, was one of the best quarters coaches you'd ever see. And, they might put these things on tape. We would always practice these things because he said, hey, this is what's going to beat us. And so it's really well put together. They have really good players. They play really, really, really hard. And they have guys at every level. You know what I mean? Like they have an elite linebacker. They have an elite safety. They have I think 4 elite players up front. And so they're a big physical team. And to your point, everyone talks about how much they run the ball, and that whether they throw it more, who knows? What I'll say is they're one of the top teams on third down on offense, and they're one of the top teams on third down in defense. You can say you want to run the ball, but if you can't convert, you're going to be in a lot of third downs when you run the ball. If you can't convert third downs, nothing's going to happen. And so they're over 50% on third down offense. Right? They're really good on defense on third down. So that's the challenge. If you ask me, hey, Coach, what's the game going to come down to? Besides like turnovers, the obvious things, can we win some third downs on both sides of the ball against a team that does it really well?
I know you mentioned Chief, and see him on the top line there at the jack spot. Most of what we've heard about him has been off the field stuff, his personality. What does he bring on the field that has you guys feeling good about him?
And just to clarify, anybody that's an or, we just put them alphabetically, right? So it's not him, then MJ. And then Jamari's been banged up. Jamari, unfortunately, got a stinger, and he was coming back, and then he took a step and hurt his foot a little bit. So we expect him back, but he was kind of really in the front, of that race as well. But we have 3 guys we know can be elite jacks. With all that being said, to answer your question, I think Chief is someone, when you look at his history, number one, he has the personality. He has the social media presence, which are all awesome. What I love is his commitment to service, his commitment to the community. You see it everywhere. You see the things he does community service-wise. You see the way he anybody he comes in contact with, he tries to make their day a better day. He's special in that regard. He's got a magnetic personality. There was a thing, I learned so much from our team, basically from listening to interviews, which you guys do with them, because I hear what they're saying, or listening to the things that our social media team puts out. I watch them, and there was a thing where MJ was talking about, he comes in sometimes, he's probably a lot like me, and he's not a morning person, and just how Chief is like sunshine. And I told Chief, I said, that's beautiful. In a day and age where everyone wants to kind of be isolated, be their own brand a little bit, like to have someone that brings that warmth and charisma to a room is special. So I love the way Chief gives back. I love who he is as a person. He's going to be really successful in life after football's done, because he's got big plans for himself. And what I like, he just takes care of things. He takes care of the people he's around, takes care of football, takes care of school. Was awesome in school this last year, and is making a name for himself off the field as well.
Hey, Matt, you've got the oar on the kicker spot. How do you kind of finalize that position as you head into next week?
I think it's just over the next couple of days. We'll have, obviously, Sunday we'll be in full pads, and we'll kick again there. So, we've, as I said, kind of Buschini was kind of going with the ones, and Tristan was going with the ones, and then it kind of was coming to Sunday. We'll have one more day of competition. And then, just for me, like, to me the depth chart is like an organism, right? Like, it's ever changing, I'm not a big, like, hey, set it in stone type of a guy, we're going to play guys, and the competition, competition's always there, and you have the power to change your situation. So that'll kind of be a weekly thing.
Have you done your final 3 single-digit numbers yet on the roster?
They voted last night. Yeah, they're going to announce those later today. Those guys don't even know yet, so.
I know when Evan Cooper was up here in January, he really liked who was in his room and the potential there. How have you seen that kind of round in the form, that competition and who you have up on the top line to start?
Yeah, we should have a good secondary. We've got good players. Quentin has had a great camp. I love the way Quentin's come along. Malcolm Hartzog is, he's A+ on the field, A+ off the field, A+ in the classroom. He's a special young man. Tommy is a physical freak. Got a little bit banged up. He's back to full speed. Dwight Boodle's probably been one of the big surprises of camp. I don't say surprise. He's just a young guy. He's playing like an older guy. Really benefited from being here. So I think Dwight's prepared to play. Ethan Nation has been, really kind of burst on the scene. So we've got a lot of guys that we feel like can go play. Giff, is probably one of the leaders of our defense. Has done a great job. Omar Brown, the big thing with Omar is a ton of talent, a ton of splash plays. Can he be the same guy every play? Can he be consistent? And he's answered that challenge. When you play for Coop, you're never going to say, like, man, I don't know how the coaches feel about me. You're never going to say, like, I don't know what I need to work on. Coop is as direct and transparent as possible, and Omar's met that challenge, and he's still meeting that challenge. And then Deshaun Singleton, he's a grown man back there. He's probably one of the biggest, most explosive, fastest safeties I've ever been around. And so he's, he tests out the gym, and now what you're seeing is his testing showing up on the football field, which I think is really awesome. And, then you have guys like Corey Collier. Phelan Sanford could start at all 3 positions. Phelan has made the jump, I think, from being like a really good special teams player and who could help on defense to now, hey, he could start. He's one of the fastest guys on the team, but he's now really, really consistent in all those areas. Kobe Bretz, some other guys doing a really nice job as well.
Is there an update on Buford? I think we asked about him last at media days. Can he work his way back in this season, or what's the situation?
Yeah, the big thing with us is because this is his second time having a major injury, we just don't want to rush him back. We kind of communicated with the family early on and him, hey, we're going to put you out there when you're ready, but not a day too early. So he, according to the doctors, had a significant jump just this past week, so he's going to hopefully begin to progress into on-the-field work. I think right now, though, I wouldn't look at it for him anytime soon on the field. I think it's more of a, maybe week 5, maybe week 6. If not, maybe it's, the last 4 games of the year, and then he redshirts this year and plays for 2 years. Either way, our responsibility is to make sure he comes back. There's a big difference between letting guys come back when they can come back or when they should come back. And we want him to come back when he should come back, because he has, he's got pro potential, and I want to make sure he's healthy.
Have you gotten word on the Gilbert waiver yet, or anything that you can share there?
Yeah, it's still on. It's still in progress. We're hoping, before we head to Minnesota, we'll have a little bit more finality on it. There's obviously been some twists and turns and things going back and forth, and out of respect for Eric, I haven't really broadcast all those different things, but there's still we're looking for some finality, and everyone's working hard to get it done.
No one knows it's gonna happen on Thursday, but what are you confident in your team, knowing that you guys will do well Thursday?
Oh, that's such a great question. I'm confident that we're going to play hard. I'm confident that we're going to be a physical team. I'm confident that if things don't go well early, that we're not going to panic. I'm confident that if things do go well early, we're not going to celebrate. You know what I mean? Like I think our guys understand that this is a 60-minute game and this is a 12-game season. And I'm confident we'll have fun together. You know, my wife, she knows me really well, obviously, right? And she said to me, she said, no, you're not going to be all stressed out, are you? Like, go have fun. And this is the type of team you can go have fun with. Like, you really can. You know, like, I've had some other teams, like, I'm like, you know, on top of everything. This is the type of team you can go have fun with. So I'm going to be loose, and I'm going to go play. And, you know, what better thing to go play an opponent like this, you know, that goes to bowl games every year and has success. And so it'll be a great way to test ourselves. But, you know, again, going back to Steve's question about late in the game and all those things, you know, we're going to be a team. I don't know when. We're going to be a team that plays our best football in the fourth quarter. You know, Coach Osborne came up the other day and just wanted to, you know, what an unbelievable man. Just wanted to shake my hand and wish me luck. And we started asking him about Minnesota and started asking about some other things, you know. And at the end of the day, he was like, you know, we always wanted to be a team. You know, his Cornhuskers that won the fourth quarter was the best team in the fourth quarter. And that's what we've been preaching since day one. So, again, as I tell our guys, when the ethos of who we are matches the legacy of what came before us, then we can build a legacy that comes after us. And, you know, this is a really good team. I don't know if we'll be the best team in the fourth quarter, but I can tell you that we will be trying to play our best football then. So if we do that, we're well on our way to being a team that can compete for wins and championships and bowl games and all the things that we want to have happen eventually.
Matt, just kind of out of left field here, in light of some of the things that have happened over at Iowa and Iowa State, have you guys redoubled any efforts to counsel your guys on gambling?
Yeah, you know, obviously when it first happened, we presented to them, the athletic department presented to them. I know that the conference is doing some things also that allows you to provide some resources. So, you know, it's such a, you know, when I was playing, obviously, you know, that was still an issue, right? You couldn't gamble, you know, way back when at Penn State. And we still had guys that probably got involved in that, and all college kids did. It's just everywhere now, right? Like, you watch the NFL, and it's sponsored by gambling apps. You walk into places where we play, it'll say sponsored by, you know, this thing. So it's just so pervasive in our society, and we have to remind our guys that, you know, there's a line that they can't cross, and so they have to have that integrity to do that. So, yeah, we've talked about it. We've brought people in to talk to them about it, you know, within the athletic department and from outside. So my hope is that our guys make good decisions, as I hope they do in every aspect of their lives.
Hey, Coach, it would be great to be able to be home for a first game, but you're on the road for 2 weeks. When you're talking about, like, the psychology with this team, is there benefits that you can share with them of, like, going out on the road for 2 weeks, not being able to be at home at Memorial Stadium for the first time as a group together?
Yes, so let me say this very carefully. I cannot wait to be at home in front of our fans, okay, and to experience that. That will be like a bucket list item for my family and I. Just, you know, I've never coached in an environment like that as like my home environment, right? Like that many people, so I can't wait for that. With that being said, I love to be on the road, okay? I love being on the road. I love being in the hotel. I'll make sure Julie understands. I love being at home, but I love being in a hotel bed. I love, like, being around the guys. I love everyone seeing the guys in the elevators. We come down the elevator. You know, I love, you know, we go see a movie. I love going to the movie. I just love being on the road and having it just kind of be us. Like, I love getting to, like, some ugly locker room and trying to figure out, like, where my locker is, and, like, you know, and then walking out on the field, and, you know, they don't know who I am. They stop me. So show me your pass, and I got to get out there. Like, you know, I mean, I love all that. It's just kind of like us against the world, you know what I mean, together. So now I know, obviously, here we'll travel well, which will be awesome, right? But I just love that being sequestered and being together. And that's what we did at Selleck, right? And so the team that was playing at Selleck is the team that I want to show up on 8/31 and play out there. Sir, you had something I don't want to.
Yeah, maybe you've addressed this already. What about the black shirts?
Yeah, we're going to do that starting on Sunday. Yeah, that'll come out on Sunday.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys.